jump on into this.
There it is. All right. Is this Miss Dix, Mr. Dix's girl or what?
Oh, yeah. Mr. Dix is there.
49.
All
Let
right.
me
Derby.
get my documents up here. Everything's electronic, so I'm looking from screen to screen to see what everyone's filed.
Yes, I will be in LA starting on March 31st.
So, Mr. Auditor, I'll put you under oath again under this cause number. Raise your right hand. Excuse me. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And you need to unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Stewart, raise your right hand with me. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh, what a
so
sweet girl.
You filed a petition asking for an order against Mr. Auditor. I see that Mr. Auditor was served appropriately personal service on February 19th and in sufficient time for this hearing. And let me just get your petition up here. All right. And so, Ms. Stewart, are you still asking the court for this order?
Yes, please.
All right. And Mr. Auditor, you ready to take this case up today?
Yes, ma'am.
So she's got one against him.
Then let me just review things quickly, and then I'm going to turn to Ms. Stewart if there's anything more, and then I'll turn to you, Mr. Auditor, as well. But just give me a moment just to refresh.
Got to refresh while she's refreshing. Let's all refresh and remember to like the video. We're watching live court as it happens. We can't pause this because if so, they end it and we won't be able to see the end. So we'll try and reserve our comments for when we have lulls like this right here. Anyone that's new, please say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Chris, good to see you. Beautiful wood paneling by there behind Ms. Stewart. That necklace he keeps showing, that has to have some sort of significance. I'm sorry. The amount of playing with that has to have significance.
All right. So, Ms. Stewart, I have had a chance previous to today to review everything. You sent a lot of screenshots. There are a lot of those, and look through all those.
Sorry.
But it's okay. Is there anything else that you think, or something I should focus in on, or you want to draw attention to at all?
Your Honor, people have seen him driving around looking for me. I'm nervous all the time. He knows my whereabouts. He knows everything, and so I'm worried he's going to find me.
Everybody is.
He also has threatened my parents.
How long were you together?
Just about 6 months.
Okay. And then your impression is that you broke up the beginning of November of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And since then, has anything been happening since February 19th, just last week?
I heard that his car was driving around my boyfriend's house. That's the only thing I've heard.
And who did you hear that from?
My boyfriend and his father.
Okay. And your boyfriend is Mr. Dix?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop shaking your head, Andrew.
And when did you hear all that?
That was last week.
Okay. Well, and anything other than that?
No, not since since he was served.
Okay. So these things that have been happening, if you can help me in time frames, the only thing you tell me in most recent event was that you broke up in November and then things started happening, but you talked about, let's see, you say harassing. I don't know what that means, myself and my friends. I need a description of what do you mean by that? And is that when I go to the screenshots to review?
Yes.
Or,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Is there a particular, because harassing, what does that mean? What is he saying? What is he doing?
He's telling them that I'm a terrible person. And I have several friends now who are very upset because he's texted them and telling them that he tells them things that I've told him in confidence and uses it against me. Frankly, Your Honor, I think he just doesn't want me to be happy, and I just want him to leave me alone. I was going to file this before, but I was really hoping that he would just leave me alone, and he simply cannot.
And so,
Whose
you
handsome
talked
should
about
check the
things that
PP?
happened in August
Okay.
before you broke up.
She got that good cream.
They were the catalyst. He was removed from my home by the police because of his just craziness, basically. He threatened my dad when my dad went over there
Eric, get that
to
dog licensed.
remove him. And that was the catalyst. And then he found out that I was dating someone new, and it just broke it out to another level.
Okay, so in that time, was there any, were you harmed or your property harmed or threatened with harm?
No, just texts. Yeah, well,
text.
my property
text
was
say?
threatened. The texts threatened my property and myself. He's
And
told
so
me
what did
multiple
they
times.
say?
They said that because he was drunk and out of control, and I left the
Uh-oh.
house. I went to my brother's house. He found me in town and came to my brother's house, went into the house without permission, was escorted out, and he went back to my home. So I wasn't allowed to go back to my home. I had to stay
So
at my
what did
brother's
the
home.
text say? What
They
was
said that there's a picture of him holding a knife to his eye, that he's going to commit suicide. There's texts that say that he's ripped up the entire house, and I often order on Amazon. So he said, all your Amazon packages are destroyed. It's constant harassment. It's harassment.
the
It's
things-
ridiculous.
I think
And
she has
those are the
proof
things
too.
that were happening
Yeah.
before you broke up in November.
Well, that's when we broke up,
Okay.
because he was not allowed in my home anymore. The neighbors are scared. The neighbors call us when there's a car outside front now because they're worried that it's Andy.
So, all right. So then closer to
Back to the
beginning of
necklace, guys.
November is when all those texts came in and
Yes.
then caused you to say, we're done. So when you say you broke up, how did you put that to Mr. Auditor?
He was arrested and taken away from my home. And when he called me from treatment, I told him that we were no longer together.
That's a nice breakup.
That's
And
smooth as silk cream.
then after that,
Who's hands for
then you received
$25?
further
Thank you.
contact from Mr. Auditor. That's what you're asserting.
Exactly.
And that came by text primarily?
Primarily, yes. Some phone calls, but text.
Okay, and did you, help me understand, did you immediately say, stop calling, stop texting, or did you engage in some discussion and then later, or what?
If you'll look at the text, Your Honor, most of them say, please stop calling me, please leave me alone. And he continues on and on.
She has a boyfriend, Officer Porkchop. His name is Mr. Dixon. He lives with his mom, I believe, or dad. Lives with the dad.
All right, so it's difficult
looks
sometimes. Some things in pink, some things in purple. I have to sort of divine who's saying
Oh,
what.
I'm sorry. The ones that originate from the right side are my responses to him. I believe they're pink.
It is, yes.
Okay. So I've got something as recent.
Good arrest. That's always a great breakup.
But I have something as recently as early November that, if I'm correctly reading this, absolutely ... I love you too.
Yeah, I do love him. I want him to get help. I want him to get treatment.
I
I
love him
want
like a
him to
brother.
leave me alone,
Heard that
though.
before.
The most recent text, that was at the when he was in treatment, and he was asking me to bring him clothes and stuff, and I said I would, because I'm not a jerk. I just need him to get help, and I don't want to be involved with him anymore. The most recent texts are the ones that are blue and white.
Oh,
Those
he's
are from
mom.
Facebook.
He's going to get a knife to put it to his eye.
Just a white.
Why your eye?
I don't know.
So the Facebook one.
Eyeball out.
I don't know if it came out. I've got
Not willing to kill myself, but I am willing to take out an eye.
Right.
Around,
What you
sorry.
did to me.
Sorry, I submitted a lot of things.
And so that
I want to
I can't wait-
apologize for turning in proof of things that he's done. That's
I
not,
can't wait to hear from Andrew. The necklace has a
So
huge
yeah, February
significance. I
12th,
guarantee
is
it.
that
You were
but
Yeah.
spot on.
all right. And someone else is involved in this? Amy is involved in this thread?
Yeah, Amy is my best friend. I blocked him on Facebook, but somehow he figured out how to make it a group chat. So he included my best friend in it as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, the I love you is a little.
So
Never tell somebody you loved them ever.
you came into
Ever.
see the court February 17th. So what caused you to come into the court finally?
She's not a jerk.
Because he was stalking me. We saw him. He came to the property, my boyfriend's property, came on the property, he was told to leave. He came by another 3 times. And then he filed a restraining order against my boyfriend. And I felt it was time to address this. Like I said, I was hoping that it would just go away and that he would just leave me alone. I should have filed earlier. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't because I didn't want the hassle of it, because as he's shaking his head right now, it's very obvious that he's angry about it. And I'm afraid now that he's going to come find me.
Okay. So
No,
then
come
all
on,
these
man. No.
February 12th text messages that I'm reviewing, I think some aren't dated, but some say February 12th.
Yeah, they're
Remember,
all.
Andrew
mostly
took
February
out
12th.
a
So
protective
what
order against
was
her new
the
boyfriend.
event that you're
Yeah, against Mr.
referring to
Dix.
that Mr.
And then
Auditor
she
was
took one out
delayed by
against
law
Andrew.
enforcement?
That was the beginning of November.
Okay.
On the 12th is
So-
the day that he came over here and was driving around and around.
Okay, and so that's what caused you these text messages around the 12th, and then that event caused you to come to the court.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. And then
Uh-oh.
they changed dramatically these text messages when he's talking. Let's see.
When he showed up here, he had a half gallon of vodka that was half drunk. So I'm assuming that he drank the rest of it and then started sending messages and driving around.
Oh, just a
So
quarter
since
gallon.
this
then.
is to both Amy and Andy are both on these threads, and this is coming to you. Who is he referring to when he's insulting, you or Amy?
Me.
Okay.
Your Honor, no, I was insulting Amy. I hate that bitch.
And some of this is, all right.
I mean, but Beret Dudley here, he's had a little too much
And
to drink.
why, maybe you can say particularly, why is it that you're concerned about Mr. Auditor having contact with you?
Because he lives just down the street from my boyfriend. He knows where I'm at a lot of time. He claims that he's a gang member and has the tattoos to prove it. I don't know. I don't know what he'll do. He often makes stories up in his head and starts believing them himself. And I'm worried about his mental health, and I can't handle it anymore. It's too much. It's over my head all the time.
Why do you
That
think
thug
this is
life
gonna
chose him,
put any
son.
Violence against you or your property or,
Because
Part
it
of the Hat
has.
Gang.
okay? Tell
He's
me
put
about
hands
that.
on me before. He's chased me around my house when I won't
When
talk
was
to him.
that?
That was probably in October. It happened several times. He'd get drunk and start accusing me of nonsense, and then would chase me around the house. There was one time I went outside hoping that he'd leave me alone. There was one time I locked myself in the bathroom.
Believe a necklace.
He's ripped the phone out of my hand several times. And in doing such, thrown me across the room. Like, it's just, he's proven that he will lay hands on if he decides to.
All right. And that was near the end of the relationship in October. All right.
Yes.
His only gang is the gangrene.
For you, before I turn to Mr. Auditor, give me a moment.
He's
just
got
to
the
look
gout. Okay, but that was great.
That's you gotta love the things men say to women to try and intimidate them or make them think that they're dangerous or bad boys.
By the way, I hate to say this, but I think he's
All right,
100% guilty, and I think it's all true.
I don't believe so.
Allegedly.
All right. And you have that. Thanks. All right, so Mr. Auditor,
Let's hear it, bud.
your
you got to say,
opportunity to
dude?
respond to this petition. And if you want me to look at anything in particular, let me know. I didn't see anything that you filed in particular, but that's fine.
Well, there was a couple of messages that I sent this morning via email, but
Nice teeth.
you know, it's kind of just basic responses to all the
Slow down.
stuff.
So you
I stopped.
sent some information to the court this morning?
Yes.
Okay, did
Yes.
you send it
Yeah,
to CC? Or how did you send
Yes,
it
I
to
did.
us?
I got the confirmation that it has been filed.
Okay.
He's
I'm
fucking
gonna
awesome.
have my clerk kind of dig around there and see what we've got. So just give me a moment so we can look at what you filed.
taking
and
very
see what it is.
Close.
Well, even this morning, I understand. I haven't had a chance.
You guys think I smoke a lot?
It was about 8 o'clock this morning. I'm sorry. It was slow.
Okay. We're gonna see what we've got.
Shake it up. He's got a
One second.
sports broadcast to do later.
Didn't expect him to have such a raspy voice, by the way. But it goes with her.
I
Fine.
need you to come over here.
Okay, so the information
got
that you
better
filed
teeth.
against Mr. Dix, you want the court to consider here as well?
Well, there was a couple of messages from Miss Stewart, and it was pretty much calling me a piece of garbage and F around and find out, and I better have a plane ticket back to Texas. And
Watch out, Texas.
And
Here he
what ended
comes.
up in 3 documents here is text messages, Amy and Alyssa again.
yes, that was the actual, she made a photo or like a video call with me and her. That's why the chat still remains.
Let's go
And
back to February 12th as well.
yes, February 12th around midnight-ish, because she claimed that I'm not responding anymore. And why? Because I'm scared, and it just goes forward and so forth.
All right, so these 3, so this was
Somebody just
already
farted. Did you hear
information,
that?
you,
Yeah, I
this
heard
is
that.
part of your discussion that you had with Ms. Stewart. Amy was included on these, and there are 3 of them, and they're all from February
Yeah.
12th and 13th, going into the very early morning hours.
Yes.
of the 13th. Okay.
Yeah, we have not had any contact after the 12th, and no parties involved.
All right, so this is stuff already known to Ms. Stewart then. Let me
Great
just
state of
review
Washington.
this.
Washington.
I would hope so. She's the one that sent them.
We love you. We're glad you're here. We actually mean it. We're not like Alyssa over here just tells Andrew she loves him for no damn reason. Maybe so he won't pop his eyeball out with a knife or tear up any more Amazon packages. I'm not sure which one.
And I just want to say, I'm also I'm not innocent of saying ugly things. There was stuff and languages used that I wouldn't say in front of my grandmother.
Languages.
Yeah.
Come on, baby. Shake it up.
Water that turned the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that?
What languages was he
So
speaking, you
there's a-
think? Beyond English.
Also, I do have video surveillance of her showing up to my job that following Monday. And my boss had to tell her that she was going to be trespassed if she didn't leave the property.
Well, can we see it,
Well, what
dude,
about
please?
the petition, you know, and some of the information I've heard here, you know, and it's reiterated in one of these texts, it's talking about, you know, remember when you threw me across the room because you ripped the phone out of my hand because you were drunk, pictures of bruises, you know, neither one of you are very nice to each other at this stage.
No, we're not.
But her petition for this protection order and the allegations made there, anything?
Yeah, it's, I want both parties involved completely out of my life. I have a warehouse that is located right next to her current boyfriend. And the text messages I provided state that he will do bodily harm to me if I go over there.
That little dude?
So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
has just become a giant.
That petition at another time, but this is the one that Ms. Stewart's filed against you.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with her. There will not be any contact. There will not be anything. It's just a broken relationship that didn't make it.
Hot flashes over here and a little dude and big guy. Sorry.
there an objection to the court signing off on
Happens.
this order?
Just in case I decide to go and purchase a house or anything, I don't want any kind of. I noticed that it was checked domestic violence, but there was never any police involvement. So that's the only thing that worries me. Because domestic violence states that that there's a serious problem, and there wasn't.
So the temporary order here was under the harassment laws.
Okay, because the one I'm looking at, it's checked domestic violence, RPRT.
Are you looking at what's titled temporary protection order and hearing notice?
Yes, ma'am.
And the check there is under harassment, RAH?
No, it's under RPRT, domestic violence.
And there's no check there by the judicial officer.
He's an RF.
Yeah, I like how he's
And that as to, I see. Okay. Get into that case. Okay. And that was.
I thought that was Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, that's Kelly Clarkson.
All right. Let me see if I have any other questions of you here.
He needs to be worried about it. He's like, yeah, I just want to, you don't want
Do you
somebody having a
believe it?
protect-
Do you
protective
believe
order.
that he wants out of all this and he wants him?
No.
No way in hell.
He's already
There's
brought
no
up
way.
something about buying a house somewhere and being near her.
And as far as the police being
Anything else,
involved-
Mr. Auditor, I should consider about this petition?
Yes, ma'am. As far as me being removed from the household, I actually called the police on myself because I wasn't in a right stage and I decided I needed some help. So they took me voluntarily to St. Peter's Hospital. It was not an arrest.
I would like to contest that, Your Honor.
Slow down, Ms. Stewart.
Oh.
I'm hearing from one person at a time here.
No
So,
problem.
And I actually have text messages to
Mr.
prove that, stating that I
Mr. Law-
called the police.
well, Mr.
So,
Auditor, tell me, you called the cops on yourself. And why did you do that?
yes, ma'am. Because I was
Why?
not in the right state of mind. I was emotional, just very, very emotional. And that's one thing I can actually thank Ms. Stewart for is me being able to realize that I need to go get help. So
I love hard, Your Honor. Real
That
hard.
was the event in November, or the event in February?
that was the event in November.
Okay.
And I was voluntary the whole time. I have paperwork proving that as well.
Okay, and that's fine. Um, and then you put yourself into treatment, and then when did you?
Jennifer.
So February things started happening again. I have all these screenshots and text messages from February, and
Yeah,
what you
there
were-
was there was just she said a few things to me, and yes, it was in confidence, but I believe that her friends had the right to know what she actually thought about them.
Okay.
And that's what started this entire ordeal.
He's a
And did you
stooge.
understand, what did you understand from your text messaging before February about Ms. Stewart's desire to have any contact with you?
We were actually doing really well on not talking. And when I showed up at Jason Dix's house, it was actually to try to calm the situation down. It was not any animosity. I mean, it was just a, hey, we broke up. You guys are together. Take care of her kind of thing. I don't want to be in trouble with
Good.
anybody. And then on Super Bowl Sunday, the 12th, I just massive phone calls after I relayed to Amy and Meryl Shapiro that Alyssa's thoughts of them. And it was petty, I admit. Yes.
Okay.
Ted's of Beverly Hills.
But there was some contact throughout your time before February. Did you understand that Ms. Stewart did or did not want you to be contacting her? What did you understand there?
It was, from what I understand, it was just just an ugly breakup. That's literally it.
Very ugly, apparently.
What did you think about her wanting you to have contact with her? Did you?
I guess scorn ex-lover. I don't know.
That she didn't
She
or
said, "I
did
love
want to
you"
have
to her.
contact
Oh
with
no,
you? Did
she.
you-
If she was replying, that automatic just kind of made me think you're still going to say something. But no, I'm looking at it in hindsight. I probably should not have said anything to her.
Okay. All right.
Probably a lot he shouldn't have done.
Trying to get her in trouble with her friends.
Oh, it is. You see him show it too.
Oh yeah, he
Right.
showed it to her, and you've seen her react a little bit.
So I've looked at, obviously in preparation, I've looked at all the files today and focused here in on this case 2349 is Stewart's request for an order against you. I do find under that domestic violence case that there was previous violence committed against her, which would qualify as domestic violence in your relationship, and that this order should issue against you given the continued contact and harassment. So I'm issuing this order. You're not to have contact with Ms. Stewart. You have to stay 1,000 feet away from wherever she is. Don't contact her through family, friends, social media, texting in any way. Stay away from her residence. Are you working, Ms. Stewart? Is that a concern? That you're
No.
away from a workplace? Okay.
No.
Residence, vehicle, person. So just, I
No, I ain't
understand that
working.
everybody seems to know each other from before, and Mr. Dix, you've known him before. You're not to contact her through Mr. Dix either. And we're going to take up that petition a later time, Mr. Auditor, your petition against Mr. Dix, and we'll hear all that.
I have a feeling him and
I do
Mr.
have a
Dix.
question now.
were
If
friends.
she shows up at my work again, what am I supposed to do?
won't.
Well, this order restrains you, and Ms. Stewart, it would be beholden on you, I would think, to keep your distance from someone who you've
I have
told the
no
court that you need-
intention. No intention. I went there to try to talk to a
Idea.
supervisor who did not tell me that I was trespassing, but understood what I was saying when I said he needs to leave me
So is
alone.
this a business that you need to frequent, or?
No, not at all. I went there
Okay.
to ask his supervisor for some help because he is friends with his supervisor. That was the only reason I was there. It was right after he sent all the messages, and I said, "Can you please talk to him?"
So that stops. Don't put
Yeah,
yourself in a
absolutely.
position
No,
that.
no,
of
no
danger
intention.
and the
No,
court has made this finding.
Yes.
Don't put yourself in that situation.
You don't look
I will.
22 at all, Flusher.
The only way, if Mr. Auditor violates the provisions of this and tries to contact you, then, you would call 911, but I think Mr. Auditor here, at least we've heard from him, he has no desire to do that. And if you don't put him in a position that he has to fall across you at his work, then that shouldn't
I
be a
will not.
problem.
will not.
All right, so,
Your Honor, I'm actually glad this got resolved. Thank you very much.
okay, so I'm gonna sign off on this order, and then it'll
I'm
be in the court
pumped, Your
file.
Honor.
I'm sending emails out to everybody. Yes, we'll send an email with this to each of you, and there's no need for service, as everyone was here and knows the provisions, and we can get it to you here. So,
Does my temporary no contact still involve Jason? Is that still in effect?
Can I get a hold of him?
Nothing's changed there. That case was just continued.
All right.
So everything is the same there. All right. Thanks, Mr. Auditor, and Ms. Stewart, you can be on your way.
Thank you
you.
so much.
Well, that was an interesting one.